The UK regulators were seeing maybe our current tests aren't fit for purpose, that actually the screening methods we've got at the moment are to identify rapidly degradable substances, not environmentally persistent or recalcitrant substances. A lot of the research that I was involved in was starting to show impacts of vessel size on biodegradability, but also impacts of inoculum concentration. So some of the work was starting to look at those methods for inoculum enhancement without compromising realism, comparing marine, river water, sewage treatment, degradation, with a view to get greater representation of the microbial biodiversity in the test. The work that's really clearly shown that just by increasing the biomass concentration by 10, maybe 100 times, doesn't compromise realism, but actually gives a better prediction of persistence. The endpoint working group that drafted the initial regulations for REACH, where some of these enhancements were included and modifications for poorly solubles and volatiles. But unfortunately, the regulations took a step backwards a few years later, and a few of those were removed. And there's been studies since, again, that have just gone on to highlight the same concerns, that our screening studies are too stringent and our simulation studies are not simulations. We have to remember that even the rapidly degradable compounds, if they're in constant use, they're going to have an environmental presence. And actually, as a user of chemicals, of which we all are, we need something called functional persistence, that actually we need the chemical to last long enough to fulfill its duty. If not, then you'll end up with a shorter use life on all your compounds, which will just increase the need for more compounds, which will have a resource efficiency or natural resource efficiency requirement in other areas. So I think sometimes the systems level view and some false perceptions kind of get in the way of common sense. My thoughts on the current situation from a regulatory perspective on persistence, to me, I think they're stagnant, they're recalcitrant and stuck in a perpetual lag phase.